think it's been asked and answered. That's,
Judge, the question is, did you know him to be a decorated officer with TPD?
are you
Decorated.
reading out of that depot?
Oh, yeah. Everything that I'm reading from, trust me, is out of depots.
And,
I spent probably,
all right, I'm going to let him answer.
correct?
Sir,
You knew him to have a decorated service with TPD?
that's your terminology, and how did I answer it?
Well,
267.
Judge, you know, it's taken out of context because at the time of the depot, he may know that. The question is, did he know it at the time of the interview?
All right,
So it's
we're
taken
moving
out.
on. We're moving on. I've heard his answer about he talked to him about his service and how long he had been on the force. And I think that was about the extent of his answer, and that's enough for now. Move on.
So you're in the theater, and you're speaking with Detective Smith. Did the conversation of the video surveillance come up?
I believe so, yes, sir.
And so, what were you going to do about the video surveillance?
I was going to attempt to, or they were going to attempt to get a copy of the video.
How?
That's what have been Detective Smith and the cyber people to get a copy.
You didn't want to see it right then and there?
I was told that it was not available.
Who told you that?
I believe Smith's the one that relayed that information to me, that it was not readily available, that it was not available.
But you don't know why.
I do not, sir. I'm not computer savvy.
What else did you do there at the scene, Detective?
We had a meeting of the detectives involved, supervisors, where we discussed what each person had, each witness had said.
Okay, so when was that?
The day of, probably shortly after the I had exited the theater.
So certainly the statement of Joanna Turner was told you on that day.
I don't recall that particular statement being made at the time, sir.
Do you know why it wasn't told to you?
There again, I don't recall that. I don't recall that statement being made that she had observed him throwing an item.
What's that?
I don't recall her ever saying, or me, at that time, I'm not aware of the fact that she says that she observed something in Chad's hand and that he was in fact throwing it.
And how long did that meeting last where you were gathering that information?
Probably, I don't know. It was a lengthy meeting, 45 minutes, an hour, hour and a half.
Okay. And what did you have available for you at that meeting?
Each detective gave a briefing as to what their interviews consisted of.
Okay. And when you're saying each detective, is that just homicide detectives or other detectives that were conducting interviews as well?
I believe the majority of the people in that meeting were major crime detectives.
And so how many of those were? How many are we talking about?
I don't know, Counselor. I don't remember. There was a room full.
Okay. You left after that meeting?
I believe so, sir.
And where did you go?
To the jail.
And why is that?
I believe I went there to drop off the probable cause affidavit.
Okay. Now, the process of investigation, I'm certain you wanted to go back and re-interview witnesses there inside the theater, you yourself.
That's not the procedure for me to go out and re-interview eyewitnesses. They've already been interviewed by major crime detectives. They've already written, or they've already obtained a statement from them, and those witnesses are normally produced in front of the state attorney's office to give a sworn statement.
Even if they've only been interviewed for 5 minutes?
Even they arrive at the state attorney's office and give a sworn statement.
Or do you know how many of those witnesses went to the state attorney's office that were in the theater?
I do not recall at the time, sir, how many arrived.
But you were there.
I was.
And in fact, all those witnesses were kept in the lobby together, weren't they?
They were. To the best of my knowledge, I was back in the library.
But you saw them all in the lobby of the state attorney's
Judge,
office.
I'm going to object. This calls for speculation on the part of Mr. Proctor, or Detective Proctor. He doesn't know when we conducted our investigation. He doesn't know if it was over multiple days. And now Mr. Escobar is starting to get into the work product of the state attorney's office.
It's called continued contamination, Your Honor.
All right.
Judge, there is no way that he can go even down this because he doesn't even know when those people came to our office, who was there. There was times that Detective Proctor wasn't even there.
He's got a list of the ones that were there when he was there.
You can ask as to what he knows. Only one lawyer and a witness arguing objections.
Judge, I understand that, but on this case, Mr. Martin had not come onto the case yet. I was the one there, so I feel I'm the one that needs to address this.
All right. You'll have the opportunity to cross.
Detective, you
To the
were,
extent that he knows.
Detective, you went to the state attorney's office for the intake process, right?
I was there for an yes, sir.
And you saw witnesses that were in the theater there in the lobby of the state attorney's office, correct?
I was in the library, sir. I was never out in the lobby.
Did you see witnesses in the lobby?
I did not see witnesses in the lobby
Where did you see the witnesses at?
as they came back to the library.
As they came back to the library?
That's correct.
Now, you're telling me then that because these other detectives wrote reports, you never went back yourself and interviewed any of those witnesses?
No, sir.
Is that correct?
I did not go back and interview any of the witnesses in this case.
No further questions.
Who's doing the call?
No problem, Judge.
All right, will this witness be released?
No, we're going to keep him on, possibly recall.
All right. Detective Proctor, as I've instructed several other witnesses, the procedure here, you certainly won't be called back today. I can assure you of that, and not tomorrow either, but perhaps next week.
Could you give me a day's notice, Your Honor? Since I am retired, I'd like to have a day's notice to be
We were
prepared.
able to do that.
I've typically advised the witnesses, I can't personally say what the time frame is going to be, but certainly a reasonable advance notice.
Thank you, Your
All
Honor.
right, thank you,
He needs
Detective.
to remain under the state subpoena.
Yeah, you're still under both subpoenas.
Thank you.
All right, are there any other matters we need to address before we adjourn for the weekend? We are adjourning for the weekend, correct? We're planning on coming back on Monday morning?
We are.
How are we doing time-wise?
Your Honor, I think that we'll be able to put, hopefully, our expert, Michael Knox, and Detective Aaron Smith on Monday.
Okay.
I think we'll be able to put then our use of force expert, Dr. Hayden, and Mr. Reeves on Tuesday.
Those both sound kind of lengthy.
They are.
The same with Monday. Steve, Mr. Escobar indicated you have 18 witnesses that you intend to call?
That's what's on our list right now. I think 2 of them might be removed, but we have between 15 and 20 witnesses
Okay,
that's currently on the list.
okay,
We'll be working over the weekend and getting our evidence. We have contacted most of those witnesses today.
okay,
We do have some issues with people leaving. We'll work around that. One witness, the FBI witness, Mr. Immel, will probably be a good part of a day.
okay.
So that leaves me 2 days to put on 15 witnesses.
We've got Detective Proctor was our 23rd witness in 5 days. I'm starting to get concerned.
Your Honor,
Judge.
Detective Smith, assuming that I'm still in the leading posture, Detective Smith is a bit of a different detective than Detective Proctor because he was the one who gathered all the evidence. And how he gathered the evidence, that's going to be extremely important because my experts are relying on the gathering of the evidence by Detective Proctor. And so I assume that we're going to probably be very rapid through that process without the prosecution objecting after, 5 or 6 questions. Because that's an evidentiary issue with Detective Smith. It's important.
But it's evidentiary issues that have already been overcome by stipulations in the evidence and chain of custody and every other issue. We're just going down the same path again. And just while I'm noticing it, I believe there's a piece of
There
evidence.
is a,
May I go ahead and grab that so we don't forget?
it goes to the clerk.
I know, and I'm going
3
to pick up the
pieces.
iPhone too.
What, okay,
iPhone I have, CD, and
on
what?
the transcript. Who's got the?
It's right here.
Yeah.
I think. No?
No. Transcript I've got here.
Okay.
The one with the,
No, the one that was into evidence.
Yeah.
Oh, you have it? Okay.
Yeah.
all right, let's get those right now. We're gonna have to just be mindful of the time. That's all I'm indicating now. It sounds like we are, without a doubt, very possibly going to be submitting final arguments in writing. So that's what we're going to have to do if we run out of time. That's the first thing we're going to have to do. And
Is there a possibility of running late? I mean,
I don't mind running late, and we can start a little earlier. We can start at 8:30, but I don't want, I'm not going to go 15 hours on Friday, next Friday. So, it's been a long week already. Let's just be mindful. Mr. Detective Proctor was about 2 hours. If Detective Smith is going to be the same, we have to keep all of it. If we run early and can take any other witnesses, I'd love to do that too, and work a full day every day.
Judge, I think we can get through certainly Detective Smith and through Michael Knox. Michael Knox is the homicide reconstruction expert, and so I think we can. And I'll provide the court with a memorandum on Monday concerning the area of presentation and the fact that we believe that this area of presentation that we're making is important in a standard ground case. And it's no different, frankly, than in a trial. I know Mr. Martin is trying to make it something different, but it's not. And, the issues of witness credibility, the issues of witness competence are extremely important for the trier of fact. And I will make sure that on Monday morning that we provide the government as well as the court with a memo so that at least the court can see what our position is and our basis for it.
I already know your position, and, you guys have got a lot of work to do still. I'm not going to be able to read it Monday morning. We're going to be busy. So I get it. I know what your position is. I understand that you're concerned about the credibility and testimony of a lot of the witnesses because of the actions of the detectives and law enforcement. I don't need a memo on that. I'm okay. You guys, I'm sure you're tired, use your energy elsewhere. As far as the testimony of Mr. Knox, I'm still on the same page. You're going to object, as you have in writing, motion in limine. I'm going to hear it. Well, it's got to be proffered no matter what my ruling is, whether I feel it's appropriate and admissible under Fry and Daubert or anything else.
I think he's only objecting to a few of the photos that, and we've got those, I think, separated out so that,
All
and we
right.
even changed our presentation to take some of the photos that he was objecting to with strings. We took those out, so hopefully, come Monday, we'll have a much more limited argument.
All
Right
right.
now, there's only, I think, 3 or 4 pictures with, quote, the mannequins and the lighting. I apologize for sitting down and talking. But that is still the same issue. And I think there might be 1 or 2 of lighting in this general area.
Okay.
But I understand your position. You want to hear what it is, even if it's a proffer or whatever. But
Right.
I think I need to preserve for the record.
I agree. So you can make, but you don't have to argue your motion. I've got it in writing, your motion in limine. I know your objections, but certainly I wouldn't advise you not to make those objections prior to the testimony, just in short and sweet.
Right, this testimony is
Right.
is subject to the motion I previously filed.
Correct.
Is that
So,
fine?
that's fine.
Okay, that's all over here.
And then we'll get on with it. So,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Garcia?
Yes, Judge. Ms. Sumner and I were discussing the March 6th trial calendar that you have.
Oh, yes, I'm glad. I'm
It's
glad.
well, the other problem we've got is next Wednesday, you've got calendar calls.
That's what I needed to
So
convey.
that is going to infringe upon our witnesses in the presentation of our case.
It is, and I meant to bring that up, and I'm so glad you said that. From what I understand about the calendar call, it has been pared down to some extent. Typically, I get through calendar call in 1 hour, and I'm going to do my darndest to be done in 1 hour, but I have to take an hour on Wednesday morning
Right.
and do that. There's no way around it. I also have a demand for speedy now that we have to address that day, but it's already calendar call. Justin Ford, Mr. Doug, in case I forget to tell you, I'm telling you right now, pro se defendant, he's in our jail. We need him for Wednesday. Justin Ford. We just had him. Remember, he's the one that, okay. All right. So I do Wednesday morning till we can plan on starting at 10 in here.
Judge, is there a possibility, since it's a trial week, that if need be, that we may be able to use that Monday or Tuesday to finish?
It's possible.
If it's necessary?
We will know at calendar call. I'll see how many trials I have. And from, like I said, I've had several drop off that I'm pretty sure aren't going, and the ones that I recall that are left are not anything drastic. So
I know we don't have any speedies other than the one that you know about, that's going to be handled at calendar call, but the rest of them, speedy trials been waived, so that's not an issue.
right. So I'll certainly. I'm optimistic that we may have some of the following week. I'll have to check as far as courtroom availability. I'm sure Judge Sestak will graciously agree to trade with me if we need to. So that's a good possibility, but again, I will have to take that hour Wednesday morning for calendar call, and we'll go from there. But let's you guys know better than I do how we're doing on time. All right. Any other matters?
Because I can tell you, it's going to be very difficult in our presentation with 18 witnesses, and basically paring it down to 3 days. We have Wednesday through Friday. And then we have calendar call at 9 o'clock. That means we won't start till at least 10, or 10:15, or 10:30. And the only solution is, we're either going to have to start earlier on Thursday and Friday, or we're going to have to work later. And I'm talking probably 7 o'clock or 7:00.
All right. We'll certainly know better what we're looking at all the way around on
On Wednesday.
Yes.
Yes.
And Mr. Garcia, I've done many trials with you and Ms. Sumner. I know you're pretty proficient at getting witnesses in and out. So if I weren't familiar with the two of you, as far as your capability of crossing and directing witnesses, I would be very concerned, because like I said, we've already had 23 on this side, but you are now in the position
Right.
that the defense usually is, and you know, typically that posture is much less. The burden carriers do just that. They've got much more typically to do. So I'm a little concerned, but I'm not panicking at the moment
Well,
as far as our...
It's also going to depend on the length of the cross, too. So
I agree. And
There's
that's,
a lot of variables and a lot of factors to take into consideration.
well, we'll do what we can do, keep our fingers crossed, move along as best we can, and that's all we can do. All right, let's be in recess till 9 o'clock Monday morning. Last night when we had an issue that came up immediately, I only had Ms. Sumner's cell number. I'll be happy to take one from your side. I relied on her to get a hold of you guys. That was all I could do.
I understand.
So if you want to give me
We will.
a cell number in case there's an emergency
Sure.
arise, and I'll do the same. I don't know if you guys have my cell number. I know the state attorneys do. I'll be happy to provide it to you. So.
That's very good. I can give that to you right
All
now.
right. All right. Then we'll be in recess till Monday morning. Thank you.